to Wednesdays with Whitney. I am here today at Crème Cupcake with Christina Moffatt, who is the owner of Crème and also known as the Director of Small Business Resources at the Greater Des Moines Partnership. I said all of those words.
You got it right. Cheers!
Yes. So, Christina, first off, thank you. She was one of the very first people that I met in Des Moines, which I count myself incredibly lucky to have you at the top of my list of people. But we'll get into that story in just a second. But I want you to tell us about where we are and how Crème Cupcake came into being. You have a very long story with this business because you've been in business for 9 years now. So tell us all about it.
Quick story is I came from corporate. So marketing, project management, it was my background. And during the recession, kind of saw the downturn starting to happen and seeing employees kind of not happy every day. I decided that I would just bake and take it in because people are always happy for baked treats. And that's how it started. That was the start of Crème, was trying to bring joy to other people's lives during a recession. And so from there, about 2010, decided to get legit with an LLC, which I highly recommend. Getting legit.
The other side, the small business resources, get legit.
Become legal. So from there, about 6 months later, the business had really taken off, and it was time that I was working 80 hours between a full-time job and a side hustle, which was not really a side hustle anymore. And decided to make the leap into full-time entrepreneurship in January 2011. So
tell me about that first week, because I've watched. Now, you get to watch this all the time, right? When people transition from their business being to their side hustle to that first week of like, I have a business, it's all mine.
Right.
Do you remember those feelings and those emotions?
Gosh. People are so excited when they get going with their business. And the biggest thing was, I remember like, okay, it's Tuesday, because I'm closed Sunday, Mondays. Tuesday, I'm gonna walk in first day. And I walked in my kitchen and I cried. It hit me so hard that I all of a sudden was responsible for bringing in income, but more importantly, I looked around, I didn't have a marketing department, I didn't have anybody to help me set up my computer, I didn't know how to actually structure my day, and being a Tuesday, I didn't have a ton of orders, so it was like, wow, okay, I gotta move. So that was my first reaction, but it was kind of both tears of like, oh my God, what did I just do? But also tears of joy that I actually did it.
I feel like what you just said is like, repeat that every single month for the entire life cycle of your business. And you're like, oh my God, what did I just do? And I just did it. And I think that, you're 9 years in now. So when I think that I've had a problem, I'm just like, I wonder what Christina thinks about this, because I know you've had all of the challenges, problems, successes, like all the small wins, the hard things. Can you tell me a little bit about a situation in which you were like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out of this, or like how, like one of those moments where you're like, okay, hi.
I would say one of the hardest things that impacted us, and I think my staff would agree, is that we had our street ripped out in front of us, and we were given 5 days notice. May is our busiest month of the year, and we were told they were just going to completely shut access down to our front door. And so trying to work through that, and we prepared ourselves for 2 weeks of having this happen. We kind of on the back fly, it turned into 14 weeks of construction.
14 weeks.
14 weeks, and it about did us in. It about did us in. And thank God to creative staff and side hustling and wholesale accounts and everything that we could do to pull our riches up and make it through this. But I would say, if you know road construction is happening near a business, strive to make it in that door, because they need you more than ever.
Well, and just, you don't think about those barriers. When we think about building businesses and building infrastructure, we're thinking about everything that's within our control. So like, how can I provide the best customer service? How can I make the best product? How can I show up for my clients every single day? We don't think, okay, something completely beyond my control is going to take this thing that I thought I had control over completely out of my hands.
Yeah, and I mean, it literally is one of the hardest situations that we've ever been through and made it through. It was excruciatingly painful to have that happen to us, but we're still here. We made it. So.
And, I mean, the tenacity of getting through it's like a daily thing, right? And then as it stretches on, and then and you're still here. It's also that you have built multiple revenue streams into a space.
Right.
Which is helpful, but like still, when you're dependent on a storefront, and people can't get to your storefront.
Yeah, and the multiple revenue streams was key because that first day, actually the first weekend, they cut off our front door. Our walk-in sales dropped 80%. 80%. So if we would have only relied on that, we would have been done.
Oh, absolutely. And there's no infrastructure. There's no infrastructure in our city to help that.
No.
And these are things that I've talked to multiple business owners about, like, okay, when the festivals are downtown and what that does to the local business that is depending on people to walk in, what that does to this. And I know that there's this give take, right? And I think it's just a conversation that we need to be having with our city when we can about, okay, yes, we need improvements. We need new roads. We need these fun, amazing things. How are we taking care of the small businesses?
Yeah, and that was kind of our discussion here is that, if that does happen to you, the businesses next to us, so Smitten Kitten and Vanity and Glamour, we came together very, very quickly to say, hey, city, listen up. We went as one voice together saying the same thing to them. But if we would have had a discussion with the city, we could have said, hey, guess what? State Fair Week, it's restaurant week and everybody includes dessert in their menu, so it kind of impacts this double. Same thing, everybody's at the fair, so Vanity and Glamour and Smitten Kitten aren't that busy. So it would have actually been a great opportunity, but sometimes you don't have that, and you won't, and you can't fight the system, so you've got to react as fast as you can.
It's really hard to fight the system.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, I'm here at Crème right now. We actually just did a huge hummingbird event here, so we had, I think it was upwards of 60 people packed into this space, which was so much fun, so much good energy. We ate and drank to our heart's content. You were incredibly generous with our birds, and they just absolutely loved it. So thank you for having us, first of all.
It was great.
But tell us, what can we expect to experience at Crème? What do you do here?
So, everything that we do is our mission. One of the reasons I really started this is celebrating everyday successes and us being part of your journey and your life joys is really why I started this. So whether it's bringing your kid here for the first day of school, so downtown peeps, if your kids get out today, bring them in for a cupcake, celebrate that first day, to an A on a paper, to I hit a home run, to I got a promotion at work, let's go grab a cocktail. So we really wanted to celebrate all of that. So gender reveal cakes, wedding cakes, all those big milestones, we're fortunate enough to be a permanent piece of that memory. And so it is crucial for us to nail it for you every single time. So our space here was designed to actually feel like you're a guest in our home.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so our tables are very close, because if you're at a cocktail party at somebody's house, you're going to rub elbows.
And I love that. For me, when I sit down with friends and I feel like I'm shouting over the table at them, I'm like, no, I kind of want to be right here.
Yeah. And that's how we are. Our benches were designed to purposely be like a sofa, so that we could host large parties, small parties. But really everything we do here, we just want to make sure that we celebrate you and whatever life experience you're celebrating at the moment.
Well, and I know that as us as a group, us as a hummingbird group, we felt that. When we engage with the business, there's the things that we say, hey, let's think about this. You guys went so above and beyond. It was, my jaw was on the floor the whole time. And I got to try and taste so many things that I had never gotten. Those cookie shots. Oh my goodness. I don't know what is in those, but I almost died of happiness. It was a whole thing that happened.
And that's our thing is, we really try to customize too. So customizable menus, customizable toppers that you can, edible toppers you can eat, customizable cocktail. You guys created your own cocktail.
Yep, they made a cocktail for us. We came in and there was a special one specifically themed for the hummingbirds. And our menu had the hummingbird logo on it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So we want to make sure that whatever you're celebrating, that was a big launch for you guys.
Yeah.
And again, like photos and photographers, that we are a part of that, and that we just, again, we want to be the cream of the cream for you. You know.
I love it.
And really carry out your celebration, whatever you're celebrating.
The other thing that I have to mention, because they've been a presence in my life, are the brownies. And I know I've told you this so many times, because it's a thing that I love to get them, and I love to freeze them. And I know that I'm a weirdo. I really love frozen desserts. But I had you guys do a whole bunch of brownies, and I was lucky enough to have a few leftovers from one of my Ivory House open houses. And I took those and I put them in my freezer, and they were a constant in my life and I was like, these are literally the best thing that have ever happened.
You've got to nail the basic desserts. So, you know, if you walk into a bakery, like, you've got to nail the staples.
Yeah.
You've got to have a great, you know, like for us, it's a simple brownie, but you've got to nail it. So if you like thick, fudgy brownies, they're phenomenal. You've got to nail your vanilla cupcake. You've got to nail your chocolate cupcake. Yep. Everything else is an add-on. Yep. So same with the restaurants, you know. Yeah. So the same thing. Like, this is a cupcake that we are having some fun with this month. So if you're not aware, we have a charity of the month.
I feel like this is going in my mouth, and I'm just going to be in close proximity, so it has to.
The charity of the month this month is the Science Center, and they are celebrating the 50th year of the man landing on the moon.
Love it.
So they came in, designed their own cupcake. It's the Black Stuff. So if you're familiar with space, Tang was created for the spaceships.
Tang? Like the beverage?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it has a Tang mousse in the middle of our vanilla cupcake.
Love it.
And cream cheese, so it tastes like an orange creamsicle.
Okay, I'm ready.
And then it has Pop Rocks on top to give a little bit of that kind of kick.
I love that. And just like fun.
Yeah.
Fun. And everything. When we were here for Hummingbirds, you were doing a cupcake for Smoke Out Hunger.
Yep.
Or for the food bank, sorry. But it was like kind of smoky bacon themed.
Yep.
And so I may or may not have consumed one of those. Or maybe a couple. I don't know, whatever. Let's not talk about it. It was so good. And then I think we've got something else happening over here, which I feel like is just going to get like...
She's going to bring it out. So we always have a dessert of the month.
Oh my gosh.
If you're not aware, we actually have quite a few gluten-free.
Can you see Holly back there?
Say hi,
Holly, tell us what you do here at Crème.
I am the general manager of Crème, and I help design some of the desserts that go on the menu and just basically keep the ship running. Today, what you guys are trying is our August dessert of the month. It is a vegan tres leches cake with peaches.
Can you see it, guys? Because it's going to be gone here in approximately 5 minutes. Oh my God.
Yeah, so vegan. So tres leches,
Vegan,
but
tres
vegan
leches.
version. Yeah.
I'm going to eat on camera, which is generally a don't do. But
hey.
oh my God. Okay.
I already inhaled a slice of that on Saturday when we were testing it. It's phenomenal.
Okay.
So
everything's fine.
Yeah. It's so good.
Oh
so
my
good.
God.
So we try to listen to our customers and what the community is telling us. There's not a ton of vegan options, gluten-free options, but again, both our facility has vegan and gluten.
This is incredible. I need to stop. I'm like, I can't. Okay.
Yeah. It's good luck stopping because
I'm going to just put that right there. Oh my God.
Yeah. So a lot
what
of people
are you using for the cream? With the creamy part?
There's coconut milk in it.
Okay, so
yeah,
that's there, right behind me. I do want to see. I'm very distracted right now. I do want to transition to your transition.
Yeah.
So, not only are you a business owner, and you have an incredible team behind you.
I do.
And building that team, I can only imagine, took years and time and effort and heart. But that allowed you to move on to another thing.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know the true story of like once we moved to this location. So I kind of got up and running, tested the concept for a couple years to make sure that we could support a brick and mortar location. While we opened, we just actually had our 7th birthday at this location. So August 3rd was our birthday. When we got open here, about 3 weeks into this space, I was working like 16-hour days and I was exhausted, felt sick, like what did I do? Oh my gosh, just constantly felt sick. And actually I was 3 months pregnant. So, surprise! The cupcake was in the oven.
There it is.
We
are baking.
Yeah, I had no idea that I was pregnant. I was told it would be hard for me to ever have kids. So that was kind of transition one was, okay, now we really have to have assistant managers. Like I had to step in as a general manager role, move into that. Then September 27th rolled around and we were kind of hit again. My mom actually worked here as production manager. She had worked all day and actually left and suffered a massive stroke that night. And so she's doing well today. I'm going to say that because I always forget that part. But that was critical point number 2 because I literally was ripped out of this business overnight. And then it became my team stepping in to run it. So we had to put a general manager in place at that time. And then I was out taking care of her. The baby came. I worked part-time days, kind of trying to ease back into that for almost 2 years. And at that point, I was approached to lead the Small Business Development Center, which actually helped me get started. And when the opportunity came, I was just like, no. Like, why would I take a job and I have a job? Like, I don't know. It was kind of confusing. But at that point, it was like, okay, if I step in to do this, this will remain a full-time position as a general manager. Because at that point, it was like kind of in flux. Like, is she going to come back and take this? Am I going to get demoted?
Part of the ship?
And so that's what I did. And then I was 2 years there, kind of getting that office restructured. And then fortunate enough to get headhunted over to the partnership and work with existing businesses and chamber members on issues, kind of like I face every single day.
Absolutely. And I just, all of your firsthand knowledge and I think that watching you transition out of being, I mean, you're still very involved with Crème. You obviously, you know, like the first thing I knew about you was that. But watching you run a business, but know that your team is there, like that's kind of the dream.
It is.
In a lot of ways. I know the dynamic of difficulty that it takes to get to that point.
It does. I will get probably teary-eyed when I talk about Holly because
that girl back there,
she's back there.
Being
but
incredible.
Holly
always.
is a staple to this business. She actually came to work for me before we came to this location. Her and I met on a whim through a fundraiser, which obviously I mentioned Charity of the Month important to me. She was running another fundraiser and asked if we would participate, and from there we became pretty solid after that. She spent a little while in France, which was amazing for her, like things that she learned. And brought back. And when she came back, we had this store, and she's just been a crucial part of this ship through it. And
having Holly, and for me, that's my Megan. And people, you know, there's a lot of wonderful accolades you get by being the face of a business. There's a lot of really good things that happen. And what I tell people and try to make very clear is that I could never have grown this business so far, so fast, without Megan showing up every single day to do the thankless work right behind me.
Right.
And she is, the 3 years that she has put into my success, like I would be nowhere near where I am without her.
Right. I tell people all the time, if you've heard me speak at anything, that I am part of the Crème crew. Like, yes, I take the 100% risk for this, but I profit share with my team. We strategically plan. Every single year they're involved in planning. And I am part of the team. Like, I am just as much part of this team as they are. This is not just mine, it's ours. And I couldn't do it without them. Like, they're my everything.
Absolutely. And I said, this is a small announcement that will lead to a bigger announcement, but I've hired a virtual assistant who's a human working in this community, and I'll announce her. But she said something. She said, like, you know, we're going through it, and I'm like, okay, I'm loving all of this. This is great. Are you ready to, like, I need to know that you want to continue doing this because I realize I'm a little crazy. Like, I get that. Just want to make sure we're in it together. And she's like, yeah, I love working for you. And I'm like, oh, no. Like, we work together. Like, I can't. This is a with situation. Like, as you dive in more to this, like, your opinion on how things are going is going to be so integral to how I make decisions.
It is.
And, like, I can't, when I have a question about, like, a file system, I'm like, Megan, you live in it. I need to know. I need to know how to make your life easier so that we can make each other's lives easier.
And our team is very diversified in their strengths, and I hire purposely for that way. you know, I mean, Holly being able to have that team building and making sure everything's running, and just like she said, like on a whim, like, hey, we need this for this or whatever, and just being able to flex to that. Dealing with customer issues, you know, things like that. Our baker being able to say, like, hey, this is a great idea, but this isn't going to work because it takes me 3 hours and we're not going to make the profit back on it. You know, Whitney with her events, like staying up on trends, having those relationships with, you know, the event planners or whatnot is key. Absolutely key. So. Yeah.
I mean, team is everything, and we're lucky enough to have great ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty cool, but it's also like learning to give up that control.
Yeah.
And finding the people you trust.
Yeah, if you're a control freak, give it up because it'll work better for you.
You gotta stop that. So what is one of the biggest piece of advice that you give to people that are coming to the partnership to look, like when someone started, what's the first thing you tell them?
You know what, I just say you have to, are you ready for the lifestyle? You have to be ready to accept the lifestyle of like, okay, I'm going to spend 100 plates and 99 are going to break, but if I keep that one spending, I'm still going to go forward.
Absolutely.
So most people just want to proceed without a plan, which I'm okay. Like, you don't need a huge document, but you got to have a roadmap. Like, here's my 4 different profit areas, and I'm going to have a growth plan for each one of those because I know this. You know, but are you going to go back and read the document? Probably not.
No.
Are you going to stick sticky notes up and say, oh yeah, guess what? I need to call these 4 people because my profit relies on that? Probably.
Totally.
So some type of plan. You cannot play your game without rules.
And I think knowing some of the rules, for me it was like knowing some of the rules that had been created in the photography realm and then figuring out how I could break them, mold them, change them to me. Now that took me a couple of years to figure out how do I make a mini session that like works for everyone, that nobody needs, but everybody wants. Like how do you do things like that?
Sticking to your niche. So with us having the plated desserts and the cocktails and not just following the trends of every other shop has been crucial because that's why we survived as we stuck to our niche.
When you guys provide a very beautiful space that most other bakeries, it's not what they do, and I can have a drink and I can have a dessert, but I don't necessarily need to come and have dinner. There's no dinner here. You can it's a casual, easy place to enter.
Right, and it's both friendly for kids and adults. You know, the adult wants the cocktails or dessert, great. Kid wants the sprinkles, great. Like it is.
Well, we had kiddos at the Hummingbirds thing, and they were in love.
We had glad they brought.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And if you have not already stopped in, I am sure that literally everybody out there has had a crème dessert at some point in your history of Des Moines. But I highly encourage you to come check out the location, grab a cocktail, because they are delicious. And this touch leche is like, oh my dear Lord, just get it.
Cheers.
Thanks, lady.
Thanks, friend.
Bye.
I'll go.